Let's talk about something real, something raw. You keep wondering why your energy feels drained, why you're always tired, always giving, always showing up for people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared. You call it kindness. I call it self-neglect. Let's talk about something real, something that hits deep. You ever wonder why you're always the one giving, always the one showing up, always the one being there for everyone? Yet when you need someone, there's silence. You call it being nice, you call it being friendly. But let's be honest. Sometimes it's being afraid to disappoint people, afraid to be misunderstood, afraid to say no. You tell yourself you're just being kind, but in reality you're sacrificing your own peace just to maintain connections that don't even value you. That's not kindness, that's self-betrayal. Somewhere along the way, you learn to equate being liked with being worthy. And now, every time you overextend yourself, every time you smile when you're tired, every time you say it's okay when it's not, you're teaching people how little they need to give to keep you around. You need to understand these truths. Being friendly doesn't mean being available to everyone. You can be warm, generous, and compassionate, and still have boundaries made of steel. The people who deserve your light will never ask you to shrink it. But when you keep saying yes to everyone, you end up saying no to yourself. Think about that. Every time you bend just to fit into someone else's comfort zone, you move further from your own. Being too friendly isn't always about being kind. It's about seeking validation in all the wrong places. You don't have to prove you're a good person by being constantly accessible. Your worth is not measured by how many people you please. It's measured by how deeply you respect yourself. Start noticing how it feels when you walk away from a conversation. Are you lighter, or do you feel drained? Do you walk away with energy or emptiness? Because your body knows. It knows when your friendliness is genuine and when it's forced. It knows when you're smiling because you care, and when you're smiling because you're scared of what will happen if you don't. And the thing is, the world can feel that energy too. People sense when you have no boundaries. They sense when your kindness is compliance. And unfortunately, some will exploit it. They'll take your time, your effort, your loyalty, and give you nothing in return but exhaustion. That's why you must stop confusing being nice with being needed. You're not here to be someone's emotional backup plan. You're here to rise. Let's be clear, there is strength in restraint. Real strength is not in how many people you can please. It's in how many times you can choose yourself without guilt. It's in your ability to say, I don't owe everyone my time. It's in knowing that distance doesn't make you heartless. It makes you focused. The ones who are meant to walk with you will understand your boundaries. They'll respect your silence, your space, your solitude. Because truthfully, you can't build your dreams if you're constantly repairing everyone else's. You can't pour into your vision if you're drained by obligation. It's not your job to save people who refuse to swim. Sometimes walking away is the kindest thing you can do, for them and for yourself. The moment you stop being too friendly, everything changes. You start noticing how much power you actually hold. You stop being the background character in your own story. People begin to treat you differently, not because you've become colder, but because you've become clearer. They start respecting you because they finally understand that access to you is unearned, not assumed. You no longer feel the need to explain your boundaries or justify your silence. You stop apologizing for your energy, your ambition, your standards. You begin to attract relationships built on mutual respect, not manipulation. You find peace, not in pleasing others, but in protecting your own spirit. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You can't be everything for everyone and still be something for yourself. When you stop overgiving, you start growing. When you stop chasing people, you start attracting the right ones. When you stop explaining, you start evolving. Life becomes simpler, cleaner, quieter, but so much more powerful. You realize that solitude isn't loneliness, it's clarity. It's where you meet yourself again. And from that space of strength, you no longer seek approval. You embody confidence. You no longer crave attention. You command respect. You no longer beg to be seen. You become undeniable. So stop being too friendly. Stop watering dead plants. Stop giving your light to those who only come around when they need warmth. The world doesn't need another person who pleases everyone. It needs someone who stands firm in their truth. Choose yourself, protect your energy, build your dreams, and never ever apologize for outgrowing the people who are comfortable keeping you small. Because the day you decide to stop being too friendly and start focusing on yourself, that's the day your real life begins. You know what the hardest lesson in life is? Learning that your energy is sacred. It's not infinite. You can't give pieces of yourself away to everyone and expect to still feel whole. Every conversation, every favor, every sure I'll help costs something. And yet you keep giving without limits, without question, without balance. You give to people who don't listen, who don't value, who don't pour back into you. And then you wonder why you feel empty, unmotivated, burnt out. Here's the truth you need to face. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. You can't heal, grow, or evolve if you keep letting people drain you just because you're afraid to seem selfish. It's not selfish to choose yourself. It's survival. It's how you protect your purpose. Start paying attention to how people make you feel. Notice who leaves you lighter and who leaves you heavy. You'll begin to see that some connections thrive only when you're the one giving. They don't call to check in, they call to take. They don't ask how you're doing, they ask for something. You've built your life around being reliable, but reliability without boundaries turns into exploitation. Stop letting people confuse your kindness with availability. The truth is, you don't owe anyone constant access to your time or attention. You're allowed to take a step back. You're allowed to say, I need space. You're allowed to recharge without explaining why. Protecting your energy is not about isolation, it's about intention. It's choosing who gets your best. Instead of letting everyone have your all, think of your energy like currency. Would you hand out $100 bills to strangers who do nothing in return? No, but every time you listen to someone's negativity without boundaries, every time you overextend yourself just to avoid conflict, you're spending emotional money you don't get back. Protecting your energy is about budgeting your soul. It's knowing where to invest and where to withdraw. Some people give you peace. Some give you chaos. Choose wisely. You deserve relationships that feel like refueling stations, not emotional black holes. You deserve conversations that inspire you, not drain you. You deserve to be surrounded by people who add to your fire, not those who keep trying to dim it. And let's be honest, you can't be your best self when your energy is scattered everywhere. You can't focus on your goals, your growth, or your happiness if you're constantly caught in the chaos of everyone else's expectations. Protecting your energy means learning to prioritize peace over approval. It means saying no without guilt. It means walking away from anything that interrupts your alignment. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot thrive in an environment that keeps draining your strength. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you say no to something that could have changed your life. Protecting your energy is about discipline. It's not about cutting everyone off. It's about cutting off what no longer supports your evolution. When you start valuing your energy, everything in your life begins to shift. You stop entertaining chaos. You stop responding to drama. You stop apologizing for your silence. You become selective about who you talk to, what you consume, where you spend your time. And suddenly you feel lighter. You start sleeping better. You start hearing your own thoughts again. The world becomes quieter, and you begin to notice how powerful you actually are when you're not busy trying to be everything for everyone. That clarity, that inner stillness is where your creativity, your confidence, your power live. It's the version of you that's been waiting for peace to come, not realizing that peace was always waiting for you to choose it. And here's the thing about energy. When you start protecting it, people will notice. Some will respect it, others will resist it. The ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries will call you distant, arrogant, or cold. Let them. You're not responsible for how others react to your healing. You're responsible for your peace. your focus, your purpose. The people meant to stay in your life will adjust to your boundaries. They'll meet you with respect, not resentment. And as you protect your energy, you'll begin to attract people who move like you do. Grounded, intentional, peaceful. Your energy will start working for you, not against you. Because when your space is sacred, your power becomes unstoppable. So protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Don't let everyone touch it, question it, or drain it. Be generous with your heart, but guard it with your peace. You owe yourself the same love, effort, and attention you've been giving away to everyone else. This is your time to reclaim your strength. Protect your energy, and you'll protect your future. Guard your peace, and you'll guard your purpose. Because the moment you stop letting the world pull from your power, that's the moment you finally start to live from it. When was the last time you focused solely on yourself? Truly, unapologetically, without guilt. Not just talking about self-care or a few hours of quiet, but the deep, disciplined kind of focus that demands sacrifice. The kind where you tune out the noise, stop explaining yourself, and decide that your growth matters more than being liked. You see, we live in a world that constantly distracts us. Social media, opinions, comparisons, endless noise pulling us in every direction. But success, peace, purpose, they don't live in noise. They live in stillness, in focus, in choosing to stop chasing validation and start chasing our own excellence. Because the truth is, the moment you stop seeking approval from others, you start building a life that's approved by your own soul. That's where the real transformation begins. When you focus on yourself, everything changes. You start to see how much time you've wasted explaining your dreams to people who were never meant to understand them. You realize that most people don't actually care about what you're doing. They care about what you're not doing for them. And once that truth hits, something powerful happens inside you. You stop performing for an audience that isn't even clapping. You stop bending over backwards to prove you're good enough. You stop chasing validation and instead you start mastering your lane. Focusing on yourself means building your discipline like muscle. It's choosing early mornings over easy excuses, consistency over comfort, purpose over popularity. It's knowing that growth doesn't always look glamorous. It's often lonely, quiet, and unseen. But it's in that unseen effort where real greatness is born. People might tell you that focusing on yourself is selfish, but that's just what the unfocused say. Focusing on yourself isn't about ignoring others. It's about nurturing the version of you that can truly show up for the world. You can't give what you don't have. You can't inspire others if you're constantly running on empty. The most magnetic people are the ones who know who they are. Rooted, confident, unshakable. That level of self-assurance doesn't come from compliments or applause. It comes from the hours you spend grinding, learning, failing, rebuilding. You learn that success isn't something you chase, it's something you become. When you master yourself, everything you attract changes. Your circle, your mindset, your opportunities. You stop fitting into old places that no longer align with the person you're becoming. The beautiful part about focusing on yourself is that it reveals who you really are without the world's noise distorting it. When you start prioritizing your growth, you see how much of your identity was built around others' expectations, what they wanted you to be, how they wanted you to act, what they expected from you. But when you take all that away and face yourself, raw and unfiltered, that's when you meet the real you. The version that isn't afraid of standing alone. The version that doesn't need applause to feel valuable. The version that's driven not by fear of failure, but by hunger for fulfillment. And from that place, every decision becomes intentional. Every move becomes powerful. Every goal becomes personal. You start walking differently, talking differently, thinking differently, because now your direction isn't dictated by the crowd. It's defined by your purpose. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean you cut everyone off. It means you cut off the distractions that dilute your potential. You start spending your time differently. You learn to say no to what doesn't serve you. You surround yourself with people who challenge you, not drain you. You stop participating in conversations that steal your peace. You stop scrolling through other people's highlight reels. and start scripting your own story. When you focus on yourself, you take your power back. Because power is attention, and attention is energy. Whatever you give your energy to grows. So stop feeding things that don't feed you back. Pour that energy into learning new skills, improving your mindset, building habits that sharpen you. The more you invest in yourself, the more your life compounds in value. And here's the secret no one tells you: when you focus on yourself, you start to glow differently. Not in a superficial way, but in a grounded, unstoppable, unbothered kind of way. People begin to notice that you're no longer easily shaken. They can feel that your peace doesn't depend on their approval anymore. You become the kind of person who moves with quiet confidence, who doesn't need validation because they're too busy building. And that's when everything starts aligning. The right opportunities, the right people, the right timing. Because the universe doesn't respond to wishful thinking, it responds to focused energy. When you stop chasing and start creating, the world has no choice but to notice. And so focus on yourself until your growth becomes undeniable. Until the noise fades and your vision becomes crystal clear. Until your name carries weight, not because of who you know, but because of who you've become. Don't apologize for prioritizing your peace, your progress, your power. This is your era of focus, your time to build, to evolve, to rise. Let the world wonder how you did it while you stay locked in on why you're doing it. Because when you focus on yourself, you don't just change your life, you redefine your destiny. It's time to face a truth. Most people spend their whole lives avoiding. Not everyone deserves your kindness. You've been taught to be nice, to forgive, to give people endless chances because that's what good people do. But here's the harsh reality. Some PO see your kindness as a weakness. They see your compassion as an invitation to take advantage. You keep giving and they keep taking. You keep showing up and they keep disappearing when it's your turn to need them. Being kind is beautiful, but when it comes at the expense of your self-respect, it stops being kindness. It becomes self-betrayal. The world doesn't need you to keep bleeding for people who wouldn't offer you a bandage. You've got to stop mistaking being used for being loved. Look closely at the people around you. Who calls only when they need something? Who disappears when things get tough? Who claps for you only when your success doesn't outshine theirs? These are not your people, they are your lessons. Some people are only loyal to their need for you, not to you. The moment you set a boundary, they'll vanish. But don't see that as loss, see it as clarity. Because when people fall away as you rise, that's not rejection, it's redirection. It's life-clearing space for those who match your energy. You cannot build a strong foundation on one-sided loyalty. True relationships, whether friendships or love, must be reciprocal. You pour into me, I pour into you. You support me, I support you. Anything else is a drain disguised as connection. You have to understand this. Kindness without discernment is dangerous. You can't keep giving light to people committed to living in darkness. Some people feed off your positivity because they don't know how to create their own. They come to you for comfort, not change. They drain you and then blame you when you pull back. But your soul is not a service center. You're not here to be the emotional sponge for others who refuse to grow. Sometimes loving someone means walking away, not because you stopped caring, but because you started caring about yourself too. Protecting your peace doesn't make you cold, it makes you wise. You're not required to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. You must learn to love people from a distance. You can forgive them without inviting them back into your space. You can wish them well without wishing them near. Because forgiveness is for your heart, not their comfort. When you cut ties with toxic people, it doesn't make you heartless, it makes you healthy. You deserve relationships that don't require you to shrink. You deserve love that doesn't leave you drained. You deserve friendships that don't come with conditions. The more you start protecting your kindness, the more you'll realize how many people were only around because your energy was free. But the moment you start charging for access, not with money, but with respect, watch how the crowd thins. And that's a beautiful thing. Here's what happens when you stop giving your kindness away too easily. Your energy changes. You become more intentional with who you let in. You start recognizing manipulation for what it is, not mistaking it for affection. You stop rescuing people who've made a lifestyle out of chaos, and suddenly you have more time, more peace, more space for what actually matters. You realize that kindness is not about being available to everyone. It's about being aligned with the right ones. Your love, your empathy, your presence, they are privileges, not guarantees. And when you start treating them that way, you command a new level of respect. People begin to approach you differently because they can feel your boundaries before you even speak them. The day you understand that your kindness must have limits is the day your life begins to elevate. Because now, you're not giving out of fear, you're giving out of fullness. You no longer crave validation through self-sacrifice. You no longer chase people who can't meet you halfway. You start choosing yourself over and over again until it becomes second nature. You start realizing that protecting your heart doesn't make you bitter, it makes you powerful. The right people will never be threatened by your boundaries, they'll honor it. The wrong ones will fall away, and let them. Because losing those who misuse your kindness is not a loss, it's liberation. So stop handing your kindness to everyone like it's endless. Some people don't deserve the softness you bring. Some haven't earned the loyalty you give. Be kind, yes, but be kind wisely. Protect your light, guard your heart, and never again apologize for choosing peace over pleasing. Because when you stop giving your kindness to the wrong people, you create space for the right ones to arrive. And that's when your world finally starts to feel as beautiful as the love you've been giving away. There comes a moment in life when silence becomes your greatest strategy. You realize that talking, explaining, proving, none of it changes how people see you. Everyone hears through the filter of their own truth, and no amount of words can convince them otherwise. That's when you stop wasting energy defending yourself and start channeling that energy into becoming undeniable. Silence is not weakness. It's not retreat, it's control. When you stop reacting, you start mastering your emotions. You learn that not every opinion deserves a response, not every challenge deserves attention, and not every misunderstanding deserves clarification. The power of silence is that it creates mystery, strength, and focus. It's where growth happens quietly, away from the noise, away from the need to prove, away from distractions. People underestimate quiet people. They think your silence means you're uncertain, that your lack of words means you've given up. But they couldn't be more wrong. Silence is often the loudest form of confidence. It's the moment when your energy speaks louder than your voice. While others waste time broadcasting their plans, you're executing yours. While they're talking about change, you're making it. The person who moves in silence is dangerous because no one sees their next move coming. There's strength in unpredictability. You become untouchable when no one knows what you're doing, what you're thinking, or what you're planning next. It's not about hiding, it's about protecting what's sacred. Because not everything sacred should be seen, and not every victory needs to be announced. When you learn to turn your silence into strategy, your mindset evolves. You stop posting every plan, you stop seeking instant validation, and you start falling in love with privacy. You understand that some things are meant to grow in the dark before they ever see the light, like seeds buried in soil. Your dreams need silence to take root. That's where ideas become reality, when you're too focused on building to bother explaining. And yes, the world will wonder what happened to you. They'll call you distant, secretive, changed, but let them wonder. You owe no one access to your process. You owe no one explanations for your focus. The best revenge, the best response, the best proof is progress. Silence also exposes people in ways words never could. When you stop reacting, you start seeing who people really are. Some only engage with you because they feed off your reactions. Some test your patience because they crave your attention. But when you refuse to play the game, when your silence becomes your boundary, they lose their power. That's when you truly reclaim control. You stop feeding negativity, stop entertaining gossip, stop trying to prove your worth to people committed to misunderstanding it. Silence teaches you emotional maturity. It teaches you how to rise above the noise without losing yourself in it. You stop fighting battles that don't deserve your energy and start winning wars no one even knows you're fighting. there's also a deep peace that comes with moving quietly. You stop rushing, you stop comparing, you stop needing the world's applause to feel valid. You realize that success is not built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows, through discipline, consistency, and self-belief. Every quiet morning you wake up and work when no one's watching,